Hey yo, this video is for Emery Rains. This dude has been a staple in the Dead or Alive community for a long time now, and I recently saw he picked up Ninja Gaiden. It's been really cool to see him figure out how to play the game and solve the fights on his own. And what I want to talk to him about is that Ninja Gaiden is a fighting game. So I thought it would be really helpful to put together a short video covering some things that are not at all obvious. I mean, Ninja Gaiden is an old game, and the way we figured out some of the stuff over 20 years ago, it was through self-testing and collaboration on old forums. It wasn't fast and it wasn't easy. And on top of that, most of us had Ninja Gaiden 1 experience going into it. So Emery, my man, you're going balls to the wall, jumping in the deep end like this. So let me just give you a few tips to help out, and don't worry, I'm not going to spoil any future fights or levels or anything. But in watching your gameplay, I noticed you struggle with the camera on boss fights. I mean, hell, who doesn't? The camera is old as hell, and you can tell. The thing about the camera is it's much more than just a camera. It also influences the AI, so the game will react not just to what you're doing as Ryu, but how you position the camera. Wild, right? Seems kind of unfair. Well, it's old. I mean, for example, sometimes enemies won't throw projectiles at you as much or even at all if they're off camera. But if you can see them in front of you in the distance, they might be more inclined to shoot fireballs at you and things like that. Of course, this doesn't apply to all enemies. Some enemies actually will just shoot at you the same when they're off camera, so it varies. But let's take the Alexei fight. So you cleared the Alexei fight, but on your attempts on him before you killed him, it was pretty frustrating, right? He was jumping all over, doing all his moves and attacks. Some attacks you have to block, and some have to be dodged, and some you have to jump away from. And with no training mode or lab to use, figuring that stuff out is pretty hard. It's like being F rank in Dead or Alive and fighting SS rank, and you can't even play the game. They just have you on full lock and you have no idea what to do, right? It's kind of like that. And so now I'm not here to break down every attack and how to deal with it, nothing like that. But what I am trying to say is that you had the right idea in backing away and trying to watch the boss, get a feel for his mechanics. But something unexpected happened when you did that. The boss acted totally unpredictably and was wild, charging, grabbing, flying around, and your camera was not fast enough to keep up with it. So you couldn't see anything. You were just getting off screen and it got crazy, right? So how do we manipulate this in our favor so that it doesn't happen? Well, first things first, if the camera is far away from the boss freaks out and starts thinking that the only way to kill you is to spam cheap ranged attacks. So in those cases, you need to make sure the camera gets closer to the boss, i.e. you need to get closer as Ryu. It can be scary to be close because of the grabs and how fast the attacks are, but remember that everything in Ninja Gaiden is precise, just like Dead or Alive. So if you do a dodge just before a grab, you'll be safe. You don't need to run far away to Narnia. Just time that dodge. And if you don't time that dodge, you don't see the tell where he's about to do a grab, right? If it fails, it's okay. We'll just try again. But if you run far away instead to try and avoid it, the boss stops trying to do a fair melee grab and starts to doing an unfair ranged grab, unfair lightning balls, and starts warping around like Sonic the Hedgehog. The other thing about the camera is that it regularly and often needs to be manually repositioned. This is the worst part about it. So you'll need to remember R2, the right trigger, and press it often. Here's the thing though, everything in Ninja Gaiden is also relative to Ryu's facing. He has 8 directions, unlike Dead or Alive, where you kind of move horizontally in any direction, right? Ryu is like, all of his inputs are in all directions all the time. You know, like diagonal up is not like a in the air thing. It's a forward into the background input. And so because of that, you have a lot of different directions that Ryu can face. You know, it's not just look at enemy, look away from enemy. You could be looking at the enemy to the side, you know, and that means that if you reposition the camera at the wrong time, you're just going to look away from your enemies, which is even more frustrating. On top of that, you notice that there's no lock-on button, right, to lock onto enemies. That's not exactly 100% true. He has a soft lock where in the direction he's facing, the closest enemy to him will be what he locks onto. And so because of that, you have to manually point Ryu at where you want him to go or face, and then press that R2 to shoot the camera in that direction. Now, when you get real comfortable with the game, you actually find yourself not repositioning the camera that much because you get comfortable with not seeing things sometimes because you have the idea in your head, like I pressed left to go to my left and then do the attack because that's where the enemy is. And you kind of just know that as long as you do the inputs correctly, what you expect to happen will happen where you want it to happen, even if you don't have a good view of it. But when you're starting out, just reposition the camera as much as you need. So sorry about that. It's just, it's old. But lastly, I'll leave you with this one thing. When learning these fights, it's exactly like Dead or Alive. Each weapon that you pick is a different character, and all their various combos on those weapons has a time and a place to use them. So every enemy you fight, especially bosses, have certain combos and strings that you want to use against them or abuse against them. The only way to really figure that out, though, is to try to keep it simple. Try simple and short combos, like the Dragon Sword's XXY is strong. The Lunar Staff has an XYXXY, and the dual swords have a rotate Y or a 360 circle on the left stick, and then press Y. That are pretty good combos that to start off with. Even doing a simple strong attack, just one single Y with no directions, like on a boss, it'll give you a good feel for what you can get away with and how much damage you can fit in and when you can punish them. Just try like a single attack and be like, can I hit them now, or does he punish me? And if he punishes you, you're like, all right, I can't necessarily do it there, but I'll find the spot, just like Dead or Alive, honestly. The only problem is not all the moves are always available on these weapons. You might have to upgrade the weapon. So find the weapons that kind of resonate with you at a low rank and invest in getting them stronger. And I think you'll find that any weapon can succeed through the game. Some are just better than others at certain things, much like picking a character in Dead or Alive. So find the ones that you like, and if all else fails, charge up an ultimate technique and go with that. I hope this helps. There's plenty I won't cover here because it's a deep combat system with a lot of minutia, but this should really get your mind set so that you're not trying to learn a hack and slash game. You're trying to learn like a new main in Dead or Alive each time you swap weapons. It's iterative, but you're already a pro DOA player, so it'll come naturally in no time at all. Have fun, brother. See ya.